Yes.
Okay, I can't understand anything that's going on, so I just want to make sure everything was okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, everything's going okay. I was just playing the theme song of the show.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I want to go over real quick today's sponsors. Soap Cities. You can go there and get all your soap opera information of spoilers or any kind of comings and goings or any kind of news going on. You can go on in the soap world. You can go to www.soapcities.com. That is soapcities.com. They're a proud sponsor of this show. Also, transform your body, your mind, and your spirit. Sonia Satrin, ex-nurse Betty, I believe it is, from One Life to Live. She runs Moticise, MOTICISE. You can email them info@moticise.com. For a fit mind and a fit body, you can call them today at 1917-463-3373. And also, our other sponsor, WCW Retro, hosted each and every Wednesday night by yours truly, the Maestro of Professional Wrestling, Maestro, on VOC Nation Radio. And you can tune into that every single Wednesday night. Now, without any further ado, I want to let everybody know this is today's Thanksgiving special of the show. And I'm thankful that we have family, of course, and, I'm thankful to be alive and thankful for this great show. The WSE Lounge has been up and running since 2014, and we look for many more great shows to come. And right now, without any further ado, I want to welcome to the show. She was known as Kelsey Jefferson on All My Children. Please welcome T.C. Warner to the WSE Lounge.
Oh, thank you. So happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing today?
You're very welcome. I am doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I can't wait for Thanksgiving to come around. Grateful time to be here, of course. And glad to be on the show.
Oh, yes. I know a lot of people have leftovers for the whole week on Thanksgiving. and
I know, right?
Yeah, that's usually the time of year when you get pretty stuffed. So looking forward to that, and it's an honor to have you on the show today. First of all, though, before we get into any questions, I want to tell the fans an interesting fact that they may not know. And I found this very interesting, to say the least, as I was looking over facts about you. You actually grew up without a TV in your parents' house. Can you tell us about that and what that was like?
So that's interesting because as we get on in the years, we discover differences between ourselves and other people. And for me, it's very difficult to sit and watch television. I, of course, do watch television, and I do enjoy it. But I'm not one that can sit down and do things like watch marathon shows unless I'm falling asleep, something like that. We just grew up. My parents were very encouraging on getting out and playing in the outdoors and playing with your friends, getting your hands dirty in the mud, and to the point of growing up in Santa Fe, New Mexico, there's pictures of me when I was 7 years old building adobe bricks to build an extension on one of our houses and being creative and reading and writing and playing. And my mother was a former English teacher, and she was a teacher at the convent of the Sacred Heart, if that says anything. So she's very much a person who emphasizes on education and experience and play, and through that I see that no matter what I do, I make it fun, even if it's a regular job to very long hours on the set. I'm always making it fun, and it just became an innate part of my personality that no matter what you do in life, have fun doing it.
Well,
so I didn't grow up watching the soap operas. When I got onto All My Children, I discovered that these people watched it with their mother, who watched it with their mother, who they sat around and watched. All up until, this is an interesting thing, and I have football players, I won't mention their names because they certainly would probably get upset with me, that would openly admit that they watched our soap opera during all of their training. Any break that they took, they scheduled all of their rest time to watch All My Children. So everybody, it doesn't matter who they are, every type of person would watch daytime TV. Watch All My Children and follow on different soaps, and then they would ask, do you know so-and-so from Young and Restless, or One Life to Live, or Do You Want to Love, or all that. And a lot of the actors in the daytime world know each other because they all do fundraising charity events together to help raise money and awareness for certain charitable organizations, as well as doing promotions for that network and so forth. Yes, it was very interesting to find out that I was one of the few that did not grow up watching soap operas or did not grow up having dinner several times a week in front of the television. I was one of those families that we all ate dinner at night at a certain time, sat around and talked about our day, and then went off and read books and went to bed.
Well, I really think that this generation could actually take some notes and learn from your experience of not, of growing up without a TV. I mean, because now it's like you go to, it don't matter if you go to McDonald's or you go to the store, or even if you're in the parking lot and you're walking across the parking lot to go into somewhere, you look around and you see everybody's got their phone in their hand. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it's like, wow, where's your communication at? Everybody's on their phone doing something, It don't matter where you go. It's crazy how.
No, it's out there.
Yeah.
There have been studies that have been done of kids and tablets and TV time and commercialism and so on and so forth. And there's a way of using it to your advantage now. I mean, I've certainly been educated to the point where I'm aware of that, and I'm experiencing it now with a 4- and 5-year-old who are very attached to their tablets, but they're also very restricted in what's on those tablets and what they can watch and play and learn. So everything on their tablets, they're learning educational things. Of course, one of my favorite ones is PBS.org. and that's their break time from doing anything. Otherwise, we live out in, on the outskirts of town. The kids can run out the front door or any of the side doors, and they've got quite a few acres to run and play and fall again. So all their friends come over here and play outdoors. Same way that I was raised, just go out and play, experiment, build sandcastles, play soccer, play ball, fly a kite, go out, go do it. But don't deny them the fact that there's some serious advantages to having a tablet or an iPhone or some technology, because you can't eliminate that. Leave them in the dark. It's the technological age is here, and it's going to be an advantage just how you implement it.
Oh yeah, there are interesting advantages, but there's also dangerous advantages as well, and I'll give you one specifically on this show that I've actually learned, and it's actually come in handy a lot. Now on Facebook, a lot of times I'll get friend requests from people that I don't know, whether they be female or male, and they'll start talking to me and say, "Hey, how you doing?" All that stuff. And so what I do is if I don't at first when I save their profile picture, and yes, folks, I said save, and I'm going to tell y'all an important lesson on this. If I don't at first find anything about them, I'll say, "Do you have another picture you could send me besides your profile picture?" And when they send me their picture, what I'll do, I have this app that I downloaded. It's called Image Search Lookup, and what it does, it's like a reverse number lookup for somebody's telephone number to know who's calling. But what it does is when you put the image in there, it Googles through all of the internet world, and it lets you know if this person is somebody else or if they're who they say they are. So I tried it on somebody a while back. They sent me a friend request, a female, and said, I guess they were female, I don't know, and said they were so-and-so. So I did the image search, and it came up, and it showed that they were actually, the person in the picture was actually a celebrity on Twitter, and I forgot what her name was, but then I noticed, I looked at her Twitter account, and she said, "There's been somebody running around impersonating me," and somebody said, "Yeah, they wanted so-and-so money from me and stuff," and I was like, wow. So, I'm going to, so I keep that app because it comes in handy for my safety and my benefits to let me know if some psycho's out there, trying to send me a request, or if it's real McCoy,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of impersonations, identity theft and stuff like that. But see, that's, just to back up what I was saying before, we are in the technological age right now.
Oh, yeah.
You can't avoid that.
You can't.
So, another thing and that's a really wonderful thing to do. You can, as a parent, you can scan who's talking to your children and so forth.
Uh-huh.
But if I found my 4 and 5-year-old on Facebook, I would call them lost, so they wouldn't know what Facebook is. So I'm not too concerned about that, but I certainly will be watching very carefully if and when I let them onto Facebook. And that type of an app will be beneficial.
Yes.
So who knows what will have surfaced?
Yes, and I'll tell you what.
So many changes.
I'll be sure and send you the name of that app when this interview is over. I'll be sure and send you the name of that app so you can download it. And because it really helps you out on identifying if somebody is impersonating somebody. And I mean, I've even had people that have impersonated a celebrity before, and I know you've probably got friend requests from people you thought was your colleagues on the soap opera, and they were somebody impersonating them, But I mean, I've gotten that before as well, and they turn out to not be the real person. It's a mess, But of how people impersonate people.
The impersonation stuff like that. We could probably burn about 2 more hours talking about that. But just speaking of the technological aspects of what we're in the luxury of.
Uh-huh.
It used to be when I was on All My Children, a lot of my fan mail would come to me in handwriting letters, and I still have stacks of them. And I've saved quite a few of the letters. I don't have the space for as many as that came through, but I opened up each and every one of them, and I read them. And now, as we stand today, my fan club is run by Lisa Rodrigo. A majority of it is done digitally. It goes straight through the allmypromotions.com website. And not only does she scan and read them, but she communicates directly to them when I don't have the time. We'll run promotions. I'll do direct conversations one-on-one with some of my fans. We'll run contests and games. We'll have, certain things. I'll send out signed autograph photos and information on my personal life that I'm letting them know firsthand before it goes public. Certain things that Lisa handles through All My Promotions. It's just in a different angle, but I'm very careful with keeping the respect level between me and my fans connected to a point, because they were there for me, they're still there for me, and the bond between the fans and daytime television are very strong, and it's one of the rarest relationships that I've ever seen, because if you look at the dynamics between superstar and film and their fan club, there's a huge gap, distance, and a different level, a different dynamic of a relationship than there is on the daytime level. We very much are dependent on our fans, and our fans are in cahoots with us as far as sending us feedback on the story and stuff like that. So that has evolved with technology, and it's still maintained a one-on-one level that the daytime arena has been able to keep up. And that's all helped through Lisa Rodrigo at allmypromotions.com. So it's not a handheld letter, although it's because mostly people don't like to give out their personal address, where they're okay with giving it to a stranger at Amazon, but they're not okay with giving it to somebody in order to receive, hard mail. So there takes a little bit of a transition, and some people are used to pen and paper, and now other people are okay with the digital age. But there's that high-risk area in the computer age that you don't like to give out where your front door is.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad you brought up allmypromotions.org, because I want to let everybody know you can join the group on Facebook, and you can do it for free. It's a fan club. Lisa Rodriguez also represents me and Harold here at the WSE Lounge, and we're honored to have her as our publicist. And she does a great job with that. And you mentioned Amazon, TC, and I wanted to bring up something to see if you've heard about this. I heard about it on the news the other day, and I was just baffled. I shop with Amazon a lot, but I would never do this. Amazon has now come up with a policy now to where they are, like, if somebody's going to be out of town or away, they've got it to where you give permission for Amazon to have a key to your home to unlock the door and drop your package off, so your package doesn't get delivered somewhere else or gets lost in the mail. And I thought that was absolutely crazy and just ridiculous. I mean, who in their right mind would do that?
I don't know. That's kind of, I think Amazon was saying that all packages would be delivered by drone. When? I don't know. I think Amazon is a very big business model, and they are reaching all of the boundaries, and I think it will work in some areas, where other areas it won't work. I don't know that there's really a risk of the package being lost with the amount of tracking that they have in place right now. I think more so is the concern of the package being stolen by somebody, especially in times around Christmas and so forth, where packages are obviously more valuable and being dropped at people's doorsteps. I think that's where those people would say, okay, if everything is caught on camera and the person is legally able to open up my front door and drop the package inside the door and then lock the door and leave, and everything is on video surveillance, I think it's suitable in certain geographic locations where you've got a high density of living. Where I live, if somebody came to steal a package, we would see them about 5 minutes before they were able to get to the front door. And me being a candidate for that situation is not very good. So if I lived in a high consolidated living space, that might be something that I would consider.
Well, at least
if I was ordering expensive items, but they're an amazing company. They're always on the cutting edge of technology and using the best of the best.
They really help you out a lot. Amazon does. I tell you, they really are one of the best of the best. You know, if you got a problem, they help you out. No doubt about that. Lisa Rodrigo just said hi. She's now joined on the interview on here. TC said hi. Well, she can hear you, but I want to ask you, how did you get into acting? How did you get your start in acting? I know we kind of got off the subject a little bit talking about all this other stuff, but how did you get your start into acting?
So I guess the first inspiration was when I saw Annie live on stage in San Francisco, and she looked like she was having just too much fun. And I was about 6 or 7 years old, and the stage is where I wanted to be. So at that age, the bug set in, and as movies came into town, I was born in San Francisco, raised in Santa Fe. Then movies would come into town, westerns and stuff. My mother would get me in as background work and stuff like that. I ended up landing a role as Carol in Silverado, and it just took off from there. So I then went to study theater at college. I dropped that minor and stayed as solo in the undergrad. And while I was in college, I was also taking acting classes, and I had an agent, and I would literally use my acting money to pay my way through college. I went to college at a very early age, and then while I was in my senior year at college, I auditioned for all my children. And just to back up really quickly, anytime I'm posed with a challenge, I take it as an opportunity. I came across a person, this is a producer who's pretty well known in Hollywood, happened to run into him at Bank of America ATM, didn't know him from Adam. At any rate, he said, you know what, TC, you should never audition for the role of a bimbo. You're just not a bimbo. So I said, all right. And I went and auditioned for Married with Children. I was my second girlfriend or something like that. You don't get any more bimbo than that.
Yeah.
So all right, stay away from, and so maybe I saw him again, and not the same day, but somewhere out and about. And he said, I couldn't believe that I saw you on Married with Children. I couldn't believe that. He said, I know, Matt Grecco goes, well, let me give you another piece of advice. Never go out for the drug addict hooker. You're just not of that category. And I said, I agree. I've never done drugs in my life, still never done drugs. And so then I went, all right. And then there's the Eileen Warnock story. There's every TV movie known to man. There's all of them, the teenage hooker, and he was all right. I can't believe that I saw you on these shows. I don't know how you're getting cast if that's really good acting. Stay away from daytime. Don't even bother with that. Those girls are so beautiful, and this and that and the other. And I said, I agree. By the way, his name was Tony, not that that matters. I said, Tony, your advice so far obviously hasn't panned out, but this one I'm going to listen to. So, of course, I had to challenge that. And I auditioned for several soap operas, and I've gone to network for many of them. And this one, I went to New York, and came back, and so you got the part, you got to move to New York. And I went, oh, okay. Now, I'm across the U.S. now from Tony, and he was in Los Angeles. But I still had a place now. I said on the weekends or whenever I wasn't promoting All My Children or ABC or, that kind of thing, or during a charity, I would fly back to LA for the weekend. I went into Tony. He goes, TC did it again. And I go, Tony, let's just stop, okay? Because if you tell me to avoid something, I'm going to conquer it. Just leave it at that. Just don't even offer. And it was some fancy restaurant in LA, and he goes, come sit down, tell me all about what you're doing out in New York City, and anyway. So that's the long short of me ending up on All My Children. But I've always had the bug for acting. I've always had pen to paper, and I've always been creative, and I have the energy to just keep on going. And wherever the passion is, the inevitable result will exist in my mind. And anything that I put my mind towards, whether it's I wanted to bring my family back to Santa Fe and raise my family here close to my mother, who's also a writer. I don't know if you're aware that she's now twice published with Now Silence and The City of Lost Gold, and we're doing adaptations on hers. We're currently finished the Now Silence, and that we're in development on that. And in fact, I pulled in Jack Millard, who I am understanding you have him on the line very shortly.
Yes, he will be here in just a little bit.
Perfect. But some of this inspiration didn't come from just my own creative drive. A lot of it has to do with Agnes Nixon, who had such impact on everybody on that show. She was so integrated with everybody. I mean, they really were all of her children. And just the way that she handled herself and her, I don't want to use the word attack, but her approach on anything, any strategy that she had in place, any obstacle that was put in front of her, she handled everything with grace. Nothing was a huge fight for her. She took on things that she looked at and said, okay, now all we have to do is find a solution to this situation, which wasn't really a problem. It's just a situation to get through, to make the whole picture and everything, that all the parts come together as a very well-defined balancing act. And she had written me a letter back when I was on the show, which was very dear, and I've held on to it and kept it in a safe place for all this time, because she was just an inspiration, and that's one of the attributes of her that I like to continue on, is that anybody that's around me, I like to be an inspiration to. Not that I want to stop everybody at a stoplight and say, you can do this. I'm not the grand cheerleader. But when people actually show true passion for something, being part of it by inspiring them brings a level of happiness to everybody. And she gave that inspiration to everybody on the show. It didn't matter if you had a large car, if you were Susan Murchie or you were a day player, you crossed her path, you were given some ounce of her level of inspiration. It was just freely given from her. And I like to carry that. There's a certain level of energy and a certain level of gratitude and happiness that I get by giving. So I'm happy to read some of the letter that she had written.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, Agnes Nixon was an inspiration to so many people. I remember when we had Catherine Hicklin on the show. She talked about how Agnes Nixon inspired her, and then and she basically told it like it was with the guy that took over ABC about canceling One Life to Live. He was, really out of line and everything for canceling it. He acted like he didn't even care about the legacy of the show or care about the history of the show or anything, and I know it was. I know it was sad that all my children and One Life to Live were both canceled because I used to watch both of them. I watched One Life to Live a little more than all my children, but I did watch all my children as well, and it's just a crying shame how the shows got taken off that Agnes Nixon created. But let me hush now. Let me let you read this part of the letter from Agnes Nixon.
And there are certain points in the letter that this was at a point when I was my contract was ending, and there was an indecision of staying or not, and I love the show, and it really wasn't a question of whether I wanted to stay on the show or not, because I wanted to. And so this letter came to me as sort of a little bit of a shock. I didn't want her to think that I would ever want to leave the show. But anyway, says note is not sent with an intent to pressure you to stay with our AMC family, but simply to tell you that very honestly what a gifted actress you are and how very sad we shall be if you decide to leave. And then going on down, says your handwriting is not exactly the perfect handwriting, although it's beautiful. We writers always recognized your enormous talent, and we're working eagerly to put you front burner again. I understand and respect deeply your reasons, should you have them, for leaving, not the least of which being the severe ABC budget crunch, from which we are all suffering. And I just wanted to give you my word that if you should decide to stay, we shall try very hard to make you glad you did. Thank you for all that you have brought to children, and something for the great fortune you so richly deserve. Best love, Agnes. That's just in short. She was always graceful in anything that she did, and she knows how to touch people in a loving way with even just a few words. She's not a person that needs to say a lot in order to be heard. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, and as you were reading that, I could just hear Agnes Nixon, talking in those words, and I know that, all my children, they were her children, and One Life to Live, she knew she had one life to live, and, she made those shows what they were, and, I was sitting there thinking, I wonder if Gloria Monty, the creator of General Hospital, and Agnes Nixon ever met each other, if they ever crossed paths.
I'm sure they had to have. There's no way. In the daytime world, pretty much there's some people say there's 6 degrees of separation in life. I think in daytime there's 2.
Okay.
So I would be, I'd be very surprised if they did not cross paths. But the storyline of my character was timely, it was strong, it was impacting. It was written and carried out by Lorraine Broderick. I don't know if you know who she is. I'm such a huge fan of hers, and I feel like I write her fan mail because I just adore her and her 2 kids and everything. That whole setup in the daytime world, people are very connected. I've done tons of movies and TV shows and sitcoms and made-for-TV movies and stuff like that. Never have I come across a connection behind the camera and in front of the camera. People. Everybody was working together as a team with the writers and the cameramen to the gaffers to the set designers to the wardrobe to the makeup everybody knew everybody. So if you walked in with a frown on your face, there was guaranteed to be about 3 people to say, we're not going to have that frown. You need to turn that upside down. So it was a definite family situation, which is where I thrive best in a team player environment. I did a lot of the TV shows and so forth, but never did I ever leave them thinking, I've still got a friend. I've still got a connection. So that's why my heart has always been strong supporter of people behind daytime. I came from a very spoiled environment where you were given a chance to do take number 2.
Uh-huh.
And I call daytime the one TC, the one take Charlie. No, you don't get a second take. And in fact, hurry. Because we don't have much time for you to film your scene. Move on. So you really got one take. And there was a lot of dialogue. When I was on, I was memorizing up to 40 pages a day because I was trying to learn a storyline. And sometimes on snow days, when the other actors who were living on the outskirts of New York City couldn't get in, I was taking on scripts that I hadn't even looked at.
Oh my
goodness. So my ability to memorize became very well honed on that show. And it was not for the faint of heart. You had to be a serious actor or you were not going to last on that show. And people walking in there were very experienced, very talented. I mean, there's some serious talent on daytime. And I commend them. I was completely blindsided by the fact that you are showing up, you're rehearsing your lines the night before and you're showing up at 6 a.m. You've got 18-hour days, only to turn around and come back again and to do long hours and still have your energy up and you're ready to go and you're 100% in the moment, in the scene, and in connecting with the director and the other actors and the scene. So it's 100% dedication on that. There is no break. There is no let's take a second take. It's moving on and hope it doesn't rerun. That kind of thing. There were some mistakes that I said that they would have to because of permission of being able to say things such as the GOD word. I just happened to keep slipping out one day and say, oh God. And they go, cut. Hey, Steve, what are you doing? Say, I don't know. They say, hurry up. Yes, who's done it? Don't say that again.
Now, something I wanted to mention before we get into full force, all my children. You were on. Now, I know you was on Blossom and Beverly Hills 90210, but you were on one of my favorite shows that I watched growing up, and it was also a soap opera. And I tell you, I wish they would revise it like they did Dallas. That was Knox Landon.
The funny thing is I seem to follow a pattern of being on like the last episode of so many shows. For the last few episodes, I was on Knox Landing. Do you remember Thomas Wilson Brown?
Which one was that? Gary, Paul. Gary, Max.
Who was he on All the Children?
Greg Summers. Let's see.
Oh, he'd kick me right now if he was listening. I hope you're not listening. Anyway.
Was he married to Valene or Susan? Karen.
He was. Who did he play? I'm going to find out in about 2 seconds here. He played, he was on Dickstown. Jason Lautner.
Who was he related to on Knox Landon? Okay.
My point was is that he is also from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'm still in touch with him, and he's still doing the acting, and he's a wonderful person. It's funny that you say not blending, because I was just talking with him, chatting with him on Instagram.
Oh, that's cool.
Seeing where he's at, and he's a wonderful, wonderful person. But yeah, so that's another person from my hometown that definitely made a success of himself.
Now,
so about not blending, what were you going to say?
Do what now?
What were you going to say about not blending?
Oh, I was just gonna say I used to enjoy Knox Landing. Every time it come on, they had the beach and the seagulls down there, and you know they had the theme song, and I used to love watching it. Valene and Karen and Greg Sumners and Paige. Boy, they had some schemes up their sleeve. that was some great soap operas, and I used to watch Dallas too. Bobby and Jr. and Sue Ellen and all them. And now I'll tell you the funny thing, Falcon Crest. And people will probably laugh when I say this, but the only memory I have of Falcon Crest, I remember it coming on with the theme. I remember seeing some guy with a mustache and curly hair, and the only memory I have of the show itself is some guy walking into this lady's room and putting a pillow over her and smothering her. That's all I remember. I have no other remembrance of Falcon Crest.
Well, I didn't grow up watching TV, so I didn't get to see these shows. I didn't know them. I learned of them when I started acting, but I didn't really. And there was I'd go over to my friend's house and watch Little House on the Prairie, and that was about the only thing that I was like, I don't really know of too many of these shows. And that was an interesting thing because a lot of people would say when I do, LA Law, or I do, one of the TV movies and stuff like that, or even the feature films like Snide and Prejudice had tons of people. And they'd say, oh, you know so-and-so, right? They were on this show and this show and this show and this show. And it would just be, a glaze that goes over my face. No, I don't. I don't know them. So when I did Silverado, I had no idea who Kevin Costner was, or Kevin Klein, Scott Glenn. I had no idea of these people. I had no idea. For me, I love meeting new people, so I was thrilled to be around all these people, and they didn't quite know what to do with me, so all I wanted to do was just chat with them. Hi, where are you from? Who are you?
Before I call Jack and get him on the line, I do want to ask you. I want to ask you two questions really quick. Would you consider going back to daytime?
Absolutely. Did you hear any hesitancy in my voice? Absolutely, absolutely. No hesitancy whatsoever. I would go back to daytime in a heartbeat. I love that world. I love the hard work and the effort, good writing behind it. And that's a world that I instantly fell in love with, not only because I've never seen so many hard-working, extremely talented people in one place in my entire life. And that's where I like to sit.
Well, General Hospital is, they've got the right, ABC's got the rights back to One Life to Live and All My Children and the characters, and, they've kind of orchestrated Nora Buchanan back on over on General Hospital, and they've got Max over there playing a doctor now that used to be on One Life to Live. They got the lady that used to be on One Life to Live with Max playing Cassandra. And you've got so many characters on there. It used to be on One Life to Live, and you've got a few from All My Children, and it would be cool, if they could orchestrate Kelsey Jefferson, from All My Children back over to General Hospital. I mean, that would be very interesting. I mean, being that your character, on All My Children, you were you were Pine Valley's oldest family's messing granddaughter. You know, because you'd been messing for so many years, and then all of a sudden they brought you back.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yeah, no, I know. I was in the Martins.
Yeah, I mean,
I can easily see them bringing my character back. That character was so well written. It had so many different levels to it. It was a very dynamic character, unpredictable, loving, very spontaneous, innocent yet very manipulative. There's a lot of levels that could be brought back. In fact, I think what and Lisa, I don't know if she can speak in on this.
yeah, she just said love it.
Good. Lisa is putting together a proposal of what Kelsey's character would be doing today and what trouble she would be stirring on Days of Our Lives, General Hospital, and so forth that we're more than happy to share with the writers and so forth and get the fans involved on seeing what the fans directly want and seeing where they go. How much they remember is a very memorable character that was written for Kelsey.
That would be good. And you know, speaking of what your character's doing, what are you doing? What are you doing now? I mean, what are you doing these days?
Well, right now I'm focusing on raising my kids and making sure that they get the best out of life and enjoying every moment that I can because these years of their lives go very, very quickly. In conjunction with that, I'm writing children's stories. There's a couple of projects that we have in development as far as my nighttime series, and I told you earlier about the adaptations to the screenplays that we're doing for the novels Now Silent and
Yes.
And the other one. So we've got things in development right now that Jack Millard is coming into play with.
Well, let me bring him on. Let me bring him on. Give me just a second, and we can discuss that.
Okay.
Okay. Give me just 1 second, fans.
Hi, this is Jack. Please leave me a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording,
Well,
you may hang up or press
Jack
1
is
for
not
more
answering.
options.
Let's see here. Okay, now I got to call. Okay, you there? You there?
I am.
Okay. Sorry about that. I tried getting Jack on, and it just went to voicemail. So he did not answer. So maybe he'll call me back, and we can merge this thing.
Okay, so let me tell you, while he's not on the line,
Okay.
you're gonna find this very funny.
Okay.
So Jack is at Hobby Lobby, and I am at Hobby Lobby. I'm getting stuff. For
Oh, my
my
goodness.
kids, arts and crafts things. Right? My son is, as boys are at age 4, very energetic. My son is completely full of love, full of smiles. You know, we've been very careful to make sure that we've raised him enough to.
And now I've got him beeping in on the line.
What?
Hello, is this Jack?
Yes, how are you?
Hey, Jack, I'm doing good. We're on here with TC. She was telling me the Hobby Lobby story.
I got as far as describing that my son we've raised him to be a very loving, happy boy, and all that. So, and that's as far as I got. That I walked into Hobby Lobby. So I looked across.
Are we right now going out to your listeners, Brian?
Yes, sir, we are. And ladies and gentlemen, joining the show, this is Jack Millard. He played Louie Grecco on All My Children.
How are you?
I'm doing good. And how?
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be on your show, and I'm happy to be here with TC. It's incredible. You know, we go back a long, long way, but we were back in the day, and it's such a funny story because between two old soap actors, the conversation that TC and I had made total sense. To all the strangers that are around us, they are probably aghast at what we were talking about, because she played American Girl Sweetheart who was pregnant with some like other person's child, and I played a evil rapist, drug dealer, kidnapper, extortionist, and I was talking about, oh yeah, remember that time I raped Julie on the show, and she was saying, oh, that's right, I had 2 kids, and these people.
No.
Oh my goodness.
It was very close. No, it gets better. It gets better. I was across my Sam, and he looks at me and goes, TC? And I said, yeah. And he goes, it's me, Jack, Louie. And I go, oh, right. And he's coming out of checking. He had just purchased his stuff, so all of the checkout lines are right behind him. And I'm just coming in the store. So we have got everybody who's standing in line to purchase things listening to this conversation, and the 2 of us are unaware. So I said, yes, you raped and kidnapped Julia. And he goes, yes. And I said, awesome. I had my baby, gave it up, took it back, and now today I have 2 kids. And there are 2 kids next to me. Everybody's listening to this.
Oh my goodness.
And come over to our house, and everybody's listening to this, and he was saying, Jeff, you were saying something to the effect of, yes, remember, he was on a ridiculously long time, like 40 episodes, is that right, Jack?
Yeah, that's right, 40 episodes, and
yeah.
how the soap operas work. At some point, they have several different storylines, and TC and I were not on the same storyline, but if you're on the show long enough, they find a way to have you two eventually get together or have interconnection. And one of the scenes that I remember from TC is that she was pregnant with someone else's child, and I come and I break into the house she's staying in, and I talk her into telling me what room Julia's in. And she, unbeknownst, thinks, I tell her the story, my character tells her the story that, well, Julia and I are boyfriend and girlfriend, so she knows I'm coming over. And so she lets me in, her character lets me into the bedroom where Julia's staying. And so actually it was TC's character's fault that I ended up Julia and trying to take her to Canada. So here we are in Hobby Lobby talking about the good old days, like talking storyline, and these people who are shopping for the holidays are standing in line with their children, and I can only imagine them pulling their children closer to them, going, I don't know who these people are. And my experience on that show was much different than TC's, because TC, as I mentioned, she played like American Sweetheart. She was like she played a teenager and just like all-American who was put into this situation. So she got a lot of sympathy mail. A lot of people believing that the characters that she played was indeed actually what TC was going through. Me, on the other hand, I played a rapist drug dealer, and I remember on the subway, I'd be taking we shot all my children in New York City, and I'd be taking the subway train somewhere, and I remember one large woman started screaming and pointing at me and going, oh my God, that's him, that's the rapist. And everyone on the subway train started looking at me, and I had to explain to them, like in mass, going, no, I'm just an actor, I'm working on a soap opera, I've never raped or kidnapped anybody. But everyone adored TC, I have to say.
They didn't adore me as much as you think. I mean, for the majority of the time, they adored me. But when I would take that baby back, because I took Sammy back, I gave him up, I took him back, I gave him up, I took him back. Not that he was,
Now was this the one night stand you had with a character named Bobby? Is that how you got pregnant?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. He didn't even remember, but that's okay. So when I would give the baby back, people loved me. But when I would take little Sammy baby doesn't belong to you. And obviously, it's not like I look like I possibly even have been pregnant. But there was one time I was walking from my apartment to the studio, and somebody threw it at night, and I started to walk with, I don't know if you ever tried this strategy, Jack, but I put headphones on my ears, and they're not plugged into anything, so I could pretend like I couldn't hear anybody, and somebody threw a beer bottle across the street at me, and it hit me in the head. Didn't hurt me, but it nicked it a little bit, and I went to makeup the next day and said, I think the storyline might start changing pretty soon. People really got involved with these storylines. They would, one time I was doing something for United Blood Services, donating blood, but I never weighed enough to be able to donate the blood, so I just kind of helped out with the drive and so forth. A woman came running up and just hugged me and burst out into tears. And she said, I love you so much. I can't believe what you've been through. It's so good of you to finally give the child up. I'd like to do that myself. It was so hard, so thank you. Those stories were so impacting.
I had the good fortune, we both had the good fortune to be surrounded by some of the best actors I've ever worked with. Susan Lucci and Walt and I was able to glean from them, when we were not working, because it's very challenging to do a soap opera, or we call them soap operas, but they existed then, we call them daytime dramas. But, it's like learning a one-act play that every day of the week and having to perform it for 20 million people and immediately forget it and do the next day having to learn all that stuff, all that dialogue, and continually. So, it's very quick paced, and you really learn your chops. But I learned so much from those daytime drama stars, and one of the things that was explained to me was that as in daytime drama, the fans are so strong because every day they're counting on you, and they can count on you to come into their lives, and they know your storyline, your life, and they come to know you and to care for you sometimes much more than their actual families. And so the type of like I said, my situation was different than TC's because people truly cared for her character. Whereas mine, they actually really hated me. And now, at that time, I lived in a rough neighborhood in New York City, and I remember I was late getting to the studio, so trying to hail a cab early in the morning, and these very tough gang members who had been out all night saw me across the street. And I thought, oh, God, this is where I get mugged. This is where they're going to mug me. But they came up to me, and they said, oh, man, we're big fans of yours, Louie. What you did to Julia, that was just incredible. And it was a scary time, and I just acted like the character. I went, hey, thanks a lot. She had a comment. And I talked to them enough till the cab showed up. So these gang members, I guess they were out doing crime during the night, but watching the soap operas during the day.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
My fan base was much different than PC's.
Wow.
Yeah, they get very, 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 very involved. And that's why, one of the things that Lisa does is keep that connection, keep the flow of communication between myself and my fans and keeping the storyline, which, Brian, I think, you were talking about going on to General Hospital days and so forth. The storyline has been, if you look at anything, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a TV show or a product on the shelf, who's the audience, who's the buyer, who's the consumer? It's the fans.
That's right.
In this situation, it's absolutely the fans. So if the fans come up with something fabulous to add to what's already been incredibly fabulous, that will definitely be shared with the head writers the networks that still they have the rights to the Kelsey Kate Jefferson Warner character.
Well, you had mentioned earlier that y'all stick together like a family, and y'all really do, because me and my mom had the honor back in June of going to General Hospital Super Soap Weekend, and it was a fantasy weekend, and we really enjoyed it. We got to meet Laura Wright, who plays Carly, and Palmer Watkins, who we've had on the show, who plays Dylan Quartermain, and got to meet Rick Hurst, who plays Rick Ledson, and Dante, and William DeVry, who's no stranger to all my children, who plays Julian Jerome, and also Donnell Turner, who plays Curtis, and Vanessa Antoine, who plays Jordan. And they were all really sweet, and you could tell, and they're really down to earth, and you can tell that they stick together as a family. I mean, because it's like, when you're on a set every day, and I've never been on a set or anything, but I know from talking to different stars and stuff, when you're on a set every day and you're working with these people and you see them day and night, you become a family. I mean, no matter if you're a bad guy, a good guy, on the show, you become a family. And y'all were talking about how fans take things seriously. And I know that I've seen on Twitter before how fans will yell at one soap star and say, "You stupid idiot, you shouldn't have did this." And then they'll yell at the other and say, "Hey, you need to back off." And I mean, it's really awful, but they take it too seriously. They don't really rationalize, say, well, in real life, this person is not like they are. Like, I'll give y'all an example, like Kathleen Getty, who plays Dr. Obrecht on General Hospital. She was on the show, and we interviewed her, and she said, and she talks differently than the way she talks as Dr. Obrecht, and she says, "So do you want me to do my real evil voice and go, 'Oh, I'm Dr. Obrecht,' or do you want me to talk normal, So, I mean, they're just, everybody out there in the soap opera world is just regular human beings like anybody else, and they're just, y'all are portraying a character that you're told to portray, and you're acting the way you're, told to act, and it's taken so real by the fans, it's funny. I mean, another example I give you, I remember the debut of Sebastian Roach on General Hospital when he debuted as Jerry Jacks. Man, that was... Okay, sorry about that, folks. We got interrupted there for a minute, but we are back on with T.C. Warner and Jack Millard. Now, okay, what were we discussing? Because I got distracted on that. I know we were talking about the family and everything, and about how people take the characters too serious and everything.
I was discussing earlier, I said very early on in the podcast that I work well in a team environment. And if somebody comes into daytime and they are not a very good team player, they're not going to be happy. And inevitably, if you're not happy, you're probably not going to be in that situation for very much longer, because why are you going to stay where you're unhappy? But that's a different setup than any of the other structure of shows that I've been on. I've been on a lot of different formats, from feature film, made-for-TV movie, series regular, nighttime, sitcom. All of them have a different dynamic, but none as separate and full as daytime television is able to give. And I think it attracts people who are able to fit into that type of an environment, because that's the only way that that type of media can be successful, is if everybody is working as a group effort. And we were very close with, we talked in communication with the writers to, it wasn't, that person is not above the level on the production status, so I won't talk to, you talk to everybody. You talk to anybody who did catering, to the makeup, to the gaffer, to the cameraman, to the director, producers, writers, marketing, editing, everybody. You were involved face-to-face with everybody in the equation. And you don't get that opportunity in a lot of these other media formats that are out there now. A lot of it is very separate, and it doesn't allow for a team environment. But that's why I think the daytime has survived so long, because everybody who sets foot in that ground is going to be part of something. And that's what Agnes Nixon created. That's the environment she built. And that's why that media has lasted as long as it has. May not have been every show lasted as long as it has, but it's been the longest running episodic format to date outside of radio.
To interject on what TC just said, we were all in service, and this was taught to me by some of the old pros, the stars of that show, is that we're all in service to the story. So any one part is not going to be more important than anything else. And so the connection between the audience, the writers, and us who perform what is written is a very sacred bond in some ways. And that if anyone came in, Susan Lucci is probably one of the, if not the biggest daytime star that ever graced daytime. And to see her working on her lines, getting the makeup with her hair in curls right beside you, and I with a small character on that compared to her, we're co-workers in a way. But we're all there in service of the story. And in my time on All My Children, I saw, and it had to do with fan interaction with the writers, in that the fans became the owners of the story in some way. I saw people's storylines change based on what the fans wanted to see. I saw people's hairstyles change, as a matter of fact, because of the connection, the input from the fans. So I think in that particular medium, they totally respected their audience, and you don't get that relationship in a lot of different mediums that DC was talking about. And I'm so grateful to have been able to have worked with people like TC at a time when the daytime drama was the king. That was when I was on there in the mid-90s. We didn't have all this other medium, all this social media. It was much more direct, visceral, the connection to those that you were performing for.
Now,
even now you have...
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead.
That's okay. What I was going to say is a lot of this communication and the respect is still filtered in. We were talking earlier about, Brian, we were talking about tablets and iPhones and this and that and the other. Well, now you've got people like Nathan Barney, who's reaching out to the audience directly, and he's reaching out to fans and saying, all right, what's your thoughts on this? Give me feedback on it. And that's just direct. That's no filter. In fact, in a medium that people will put stuff forward thinking that they're hidden behind an electronic transmission. So they literally will say anything. They're not face-to-face. A lot of people will pull back what they actually truly feel when they're face-to-face. Even writing on a letter, they'll hold back. But when it's on electronic media, Facebook, social media, and so forth, they don't hold back. So they'll tell it like this. And you CBS, NBC, and so forth on social media asking the fans directly, what do you think? That is unheard of. And they listen. That is unheard of.
That's true. And, you know, speaking of executives, we actually had one of them on the show, and I do keep in touch with him off and on. The manager of General Hospital, Nathan Verney, he was on the show a while back, and, you know, we asked him about the possible bringing back All My Children, One Life to Live, and he said that, you know, they were looking into it, very slowly, but you know they were talking with different markets like Hulu and Netflix and the Amazon Prime and other places trying to possibly do something, but they were going to slowly resurrect different characters from One Life to Live and All My Children into General Hospital, and there are a lot of characters. A lot of the stars out there from One Life to Live and All My Children that are up for a reboot, without Prospect Parks involved, of course. But there are a lot of them, out there that are up for a reboot and, would be willing to do that. And, I think it would be great. I mean, just the other day, Nora Buchanan guest starred on General Hospital, and she got on the phone and she said, "Hey, Bo, I'll be home a little bit, cowboy." She said, "Let's go to Roadie's, get a burger," because that was One Life to Live, And I thought that was so cool, to say she was in Landview, Pennsylvania and stuff, and still, have that up and everything. And, you were talking about something that came to my attention. You were talking about you kept giving up your baby on All My Children. How would you have felt if you were on there when Babe Chandler gave up her baby and her brother took it over to Kelly in Landview and they had a baby switch and baby swap and one of the babies died and then they traveled. It was really neat. I don't know if y'all seen it that time, but you had Michael Knight and Robert S. Woods, Bo Buchanan, and Ted Martin in the same room. You had the late Asa Buchanan, Phil Carey, and then you had the late Adam Chandler, David Canary in the same room, the Chandlers and the Buchanans, and it was really, really neat how they played out that storyline of the baby switch and everything, and I think that would have been neat if you were on the show then, and then they took you took your baby and you had a baby switch with One Life to Live, and then maybe Jack that played Louie Grecco on there, maybe he was involved with RJ over on One Life to Live, to get some kind of criminal activity going. I mean, that would have been cool. I mean,
We all want to have a crossover career, like they kept it from me for a long time until I stopped getting scripts. And I went, "Are you going to kill off Louie Grecco?" And they said, "Well, yeah, he's just too bad. He's found out you can't reform him." And I went, and that's when I pitched the idea to the producer. Said, "What if Louie had a twin and he was a good twin?" But they didn't go for that. They just said that I was an actor not wanting to give up a job.
Well, how did your character get killed off?
My character died like a chump. I was in a big fight with the character that Keith Hamilton Cobb played. He played a big character named Noah. And Noah was Julia Santos, who eventually they got married on the show. And he beat me up, and he tripped me, and I hit my head on a rock, and that's how I died. And even while they were zipping me up in the body bag, I said, I can still come back. until there was a trial where Noah was brought up for murdering my character, and they said the autopsy showed that Louie Grecco suffered a severe trauma to the head.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if my character can come back from an autopsy, but it is a soap world, so anything is possible. But
well,
at that point, my storyline was done.
Well, the reason I asked you that is because William DeVry, when he played on there, he played what character did he play? He was one of the brothers on there. Not Zach Slater's brother, but he was one of the. I think he was one of the Canvias's brothers, and he was so evil on there that he. They had his character so hated, they literally burned him alive. That's how bad they hated him. I mean, it was awful.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean.
Well, I wanted my character to have more interaction with TC, and I'll just say that right now. You know. I wanted a love story between Louie, Grecco, and TC, but I'm saying that right now. Maybe in a reboot of the franchise, that could possibly happen. And they could have that child. TC, I wouldn't let you give up that child. Okay?
You never know. You never know in the soap world because right now you got Roger Hayworth, who played Todd Manning on One Life Live, playing Franco, and he's known, before his brain tumor, he was known for this notorious rapist that went through, the town and kidnapped different people. And now one of the ladies he kidnapped, which is Rebecca Hurst, who's been Elizabeth Weber for many, many years on there, she's now with Franco, and Steve Burton's come back, and you got Billy Millard on there, and they're both DNA'd as Jason Morgan, so nobody knows who the real Jason Morgan is, but Steve Burton, part of Jason Morgan, attacked Franco viciously and beat the tar out of him, and then Elizabeth said, I understand you got issues with Franco, but I'm now with him, and Steve Burton's face was like, what? Are you crazy? So, I mean, so things really change in the soap opera world, and you never know what good guy's gonna be with the bad girl, or the bad guy's gonna be with the good girl. I mean, you never know.
No, you have to give a lot of credit to the writers of Daytime. That is one of the most difficult things. Talk about a team effort and some serious talent on the writing side. They have such a high level of creativity. It's not even funny. They have so many stories that have to be not only relevant, but impacting and engaging. Something that really locks an audience in and keeps them watching and tuning in. So if anybody can do that, what we're all talking about, there were people capable of any of that, is the writers of Grecco.
Yeah, and you have to give the writers props, and I want to ask you real quick, Jack, you were on Star Trek, is that correct?
That's correct.
So, what was it like for you being on Star Trek? The Next Generation, I believe.
I often say this is I put all my children right up there with my experience on the movie Star Trek that was directed by J.J. Abrams. And I could, if I could wish one thing, is that I could still be working on both those projects. J.J. Abrams was so incredibly talented, or is so incredibly talented and gifted, that he was like a child. He was childlike in his wonderment and his excitement for what he was doing, and that was infectious to everyone on that cast. And I had such a great time on that. And at that point, it was a writer's strike when we were shooting Star Trek. So a lot of stuff had to be made up on the fly. And I want to applaud TC in this regard, in that having the experience of working with the writers that we did, it certainly has inspired both of us to continue with our creativity as far as writing material. And I wanted to bring that up before I leave the show here, in that TC and I have been talking about different projects that we're putting together and developing with that sort of focus on the writing in mind.
Yeah, it's a combination of using the talent and keeping somewhat of the family still together. And both of us are in Santa Fe and California, bouncing back and forth. So it's a very feasible equation. There's a lot of talent, a lot of experience between the two of us. As Steve projects that we're developing are very good candidates, and you couldn't have that possibility or that opportunity without the experience of doing the work that we have with the people that we have in daytime.
Well,
There's just no way that would have even been possible.
Well, I want to thank both of y'all for being on the show today, and I want to ask y'all before you both go. Do y'all have anything y'all would like to promote?
Both of us back in daytime.
Okay. Okay.
Well, we don't want to give out too many secrets, but we are, because of our unique experience of working on the daytime drama at the time we did. Some of our material that we're working on is some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that no one really knows about that happened in daytime. Having it be more of an ongoing sort of an episodic television show about these characters. And you sort of brought it up, Ryan, in that, these people that we got the opportunity to work with were so different than the characters that you came to love, that we're working on something about a nighttime drama based around a daytime drama television show. And you get an opportunity to actually see what's going on with these characters as real people in their day-to-day life when they're not in front of the cameras and not having to be in front of the fans. So from TC's unique experience of working on all those mediums, and with my experience, I think we have something to say, and we're very excited by that. We'll just leave it at that right now because we're still developing it, and we're talking to other daytime drama actors about possibly signing on to be a part of the pilot of this episodic show.
Well, I tell you what.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
Something that you would like to see, Brian.
Oh, I was just going to say that sounds good, and that sounds like it's going to be very exciting. And please keep us informed on the details and everything. And whenever that comes on, I'll be sure and check that out. I'm very interested in seeing who joins, because I know there's a lot of former One Life to Live and All My Children stars that are currently out there on internet series online. So, I mean, you never know. I mean, and I think it's great what y'all are doing, and I'm very interested in seeing that.
I think there's a big hunger out there for the fans that have longed for a lot of these stories to come. We might be we're not reinventing it, but we are giving another take on the stories that they already know. And I think there's a incredible hunger for that out there. And talking to TC about this, I think we're real excited by what we're coming up based on the things that we actually went through.
Yeah, and the other thing is, Brian, a way for everybody to reach out to myself and Jeff directly is through, well, I guess it wouldn't be directly if it's through somebody, right? But to reach out to Lisa Rodrigo at allmypromotions.com. Join the fan club. It is free. We do interact with them. We're very involved in them. And we're more than delighted to have more members join our fan club. So reach out to allmypromotions.com. Join the fan club. And I want to thank you so very much, Brian, for holding this. It's been absolutely wonderful. We've gone extremely over the time limit.
Yes, we have. But that's okay. I mean, I enjoyed it, and y'all are very welcome. And I hope y'all both have a happy Thanksgiving. You too. Thank you. God bless.
We have to continue our conversation in Hobby Lobby, okay?
Okay, let's not go to Hobby Lobby. I don't think I'm going to shop this again. All right.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. You're welcome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was T.C. Warner from All My Children. She played Kate Kelsey Jefferson on All My Children. And that was also, a surprise, Jack Millard, who played Louie Grecco on All My Children. And that was our Thanksgiving edition of the WSE Lounge. And really quickly, we're going to go to commercial break. And then when we get back, I'm going to announce to you what's coming up on our Christmas special, coming up December the 6th. Because I feel like it's best to announce this on video. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after commercial.
Hi, this is Eric Bishop, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge. Hey guys. Hello there, this is Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express, and you're listening to WSE Lounge.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're back for commercial break, and I hope you enjoyed that great Thanksgiving episode. And now I want to let you know that coming up Wednesday, December the 6th, and hello to Debbie. Thank you for joining. Coming up Wednesday, December the 6th, for the Christmas show of the WSE Lounge, I will be welcoming a man named Christopher Scott. He spent many years in prison for a murder he did not commit. But here's the irony of this story. This will inspire you and encourage so many, because while he was in prison, he watched General Hospital. Maurice Bernard, who plays Sonny Corinthos on General Hospital, was his favorite actor. And he'll tell you why on December the 6th, and he'll tell you how General Hospital saved his life, and how today he's a better man because of Maurice Bernard and General Hospital. We'll see you December the 6th on the Christmas show edition of the WSE Lounge. It will be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And without any further ado, I'm going to let Hudson West close us out.